Do you believe that deep within the earth lies a library that is not ours? It has no shelves, no parchments, no dusty scrolls. Instead, there were rows and rows, glowing with a shimmering light crystal. It is a dossier on the origins of the universe, ancient technology, time travel, and even future catastrophes. And it all leads to a location that has been shrouded in secrecy by the mainstream Arca. The border between Ecuador and Peru is known as the Los Tallos Caves. You've probably never heard of it, but in 1976, it had attracted an almost unbelievable team of investigators, RAF paratroopers, NASA astronautical consultants, Scottish engineers, representatives of the American Geographical Society place. Even, it included a man named Neil Armstrong. Yes, the same Armstrong who landed on the moon. So why would an astronaut venture into the pristine rainforests of South America in search of an underground library supposedly built by an alien civilization? It's not a legend, it's not a movie. This was an expeditionary operation that took place in 1976 and was supported by the Ecuadorian military. And the purpose of this operation has been deliberately obscured, redacted, and silenced. Now it's time to reopen the closed stone door, to see the truths that are hidden beneath the earth. The story begins not on the moon or in a NASA lab. Rather, in 1969, a Hungarian-born Argentine explorer named Juan Moritz claimed to have entered a metal archive hidden underground near Salingara in southeastern Ecuador. A world that needs no light source. The walls are smooth as mirrors, the floors level as an airport runway, and in the deepest part, neatly arranged metal pages record knowledge older than human history. The metal plates were like thin sheets of copper, engraved with words and images he had never seen before. Astrological diagrams, geometric formulas, non-human creatures, and a set of patterns. This startling discovery was recorded by Moritz in a secret notebook he had written himself, which contained this sentence: "The preserver of this information is not of this age." Even more surprisingly, Moritz claims that he entered the cave with the permission and guidance of the local Sioux Alton Aborigines. For generations, a mysterious prophecy has been passed down to them. The door in the stone is opened only for the Star Child. This door, said to have been built by the stargazers, leads to a repository. Not only their memories, but also the memories of the evolution of Earth civilization. On July 8, 1969, Moritz submitted a legal declaration that is still available in the Ecuadorian National Archives. In it, he wrote, "I have the ability, and know the route, to take you to an undocumented underground civilization." This statement shook the geological community, the historical community, and even the intelligence. And the first person to respond to Moritz came from Europe, a Swiss writer named Erich von Däniken. Däniken cited Moritz's discovery in his book as one of the proofs of alien intervention in human history. The book became a masterpiece of the ancient astronaut theory in the 1970s. But inexplicably, Moritz later denies that Däniken ever entered the cave or even showed him the metal library. The pair, once allies, suddenly become attacked by each other. Moritz no longer appeared in public, and his notebook of cave routes mysteriously disappeared after that. Some say he was controlled by intelligence agencies. Others say he was warned by the Aborigine. But what's even more amazing is this. A few years later, one man actually managed to go deeper into the cave. And this man, no longer a researcher, not a writer, but an astronaut on the moon. June 3, 1976. Without the knowledge of the outside world, a transnational operation, organized jointly by the Ecuadorian government, the Royal Geographical Society, and the Ecuadorian Army. Mission objective: to enter the Cueva de los Tallos and conduct a month-long geological, archaeological, and unspecified use exploration mission. More than 100 participants, including one astronaut on the moon, Neil Armstrong, multiple Royal Airborne, SES, an Ecuadorian Army Mountain Combat Team, multinational scientists, geologists, and engineers, are even equipped with portable communication command systems and independent power supply modules. This is not an ordinary geographic expedition, but why would a former astronaut known for his peaceful explorations be involved in such an unknown mission? On June 10, 1976, Armstrong entered the cave himself and spent a full 48 hours there. He had whispered in a private recording after his return trip, "I've walked on the moon, but this is older than time. I've walked on the moon, but this place, it's older than time." The phrase has never been publicly recorded in NASA documents, appearing only once in the sidebar of the diary of a member of geography in 1977, who then abruptly resigned and disappeared. At the end of the expedition, the report of the entire team was labeled as a technical draft and never officially released to the public. On camera, an unnamed explorer whispers, "This is not a natural rock formation. These walls are cut." The camera then quickly skims over a collapsed passageway, above which a photographed stone slab is inscribed with a pattern resembling a fusion of ancient Sumerian cuneiform and Mayan hieroglyphic. The video, which was only briefly played at a closed academic conference, was recorded by a person whose identity remains unknown. And just 4 months after the end of the expedition, Juan Moritz, the man who originally claimed to have discovered the underground crystal library, died suddenly. The cause of death was unknown, including the legendary notebook, which disappeared along with it, as if it had never existed. So what did this most mysterious geological expedition in history actually discover? Why has it never appeared in any of the public databases of NASA, UNESCO, or the Royal Geographical Society? Armstrong has never mentioned the trip since, and when asked by the press, he simply said, "It was beautiful, but the world's not ready." That's beautiful, but the world isn't ready for it. These tablets, if they are real, may revolutionize our perception of human history. In Juan Moritz's dictation notes, he repeatedly mentions, "These are not books, they have no letters, yet they are clearer than any book." What he describes is a structure of perceptible information. Slabs of stone, carved like crystal, with a smooth and transparent surface, displaying images and patterns under a specific light. Some show galactic alignments, others float like holograms in a three-dimensional scene. This is reminiscent of certain concepts in modern technology: holographic projection, optical quantum storage, or some kind of yet-to-be-understood consciousness store. In 1977, an anonymous scientist at the Royal Geographical Society wrote in a private memo, "I have not touched the light stone, but a strange language and cosmic map appeared in my mind like a dream." This description coincides with a classified passage in NASA's 1972 Starseed document. The hypothesis is that there exists a material that resonates with consciousness and downloads non-verbalin. Moritz claimed to have seen hundreds of these slabs, arranged in neat rows in rock chambers. The walls, floors, and tops are precision cut and show no signs of natural erosion. The prevailing view in the archaeological community scoffs at the idea that the metal archive is a myth and lacks verifiable evidence. But there is one piece of cold knowledge that very few people know. Layers containing heterogeneous metals, harder than known titanium alloys, have been found south of Shalingala. The metal was sent to the Quito laboratory, but was completely destroyed in an unexplained fire, and no samples were preserved. The geological record number SH31A, it later reappeared in the Los Tajos project folder in 1976, labeled Civilian Reproduction Prohibited, filed in Classified Mineral File. This tablet, whose message is not read but sensed, it cannot be translated, but it can be understood. It cannot be translated, but it can be understood. Have such technological concepts ever existed in human civilization? The ancient Egyptian tablet of God's tongue, the Mayan page of minds, the Tibetan Buddhist mandala of light and consciousness, they may not be religious imagery, but a lingering memory of some lost technology. What are these crystal tablets really, if they record more than just the past? Rather, a future that is about to happen? In the fragmentary record of Moritz's notebooks, there is a description that is impossible to ignore. There is a board that is the centerpiece of the entire. At the center of this plate is a mass of rotating solenoids with multiple track points extending around it, like a complex map of the universe. And a certain geographer on the 1976 expedition, an unidentified Englishman, is said to have secretly made a thumbnail sketch of the slab. Decades later, an astrophysicist overlaid this sketch with a star map of the Milky Way galaxy in a secretive meeting, and made the startling discovery. These points, which match the relative posses, but one point, located about 300 light-years away from the solar system, stands out. It is enlarged, highlighted on the slab, and connected to a set of linear symbols that resemble. In 2012, after the European Space Agency, ESA, officially mapped the Milky Way in 3 dimensions with the Gaia telescope, it was confirmed that there is indeed a stellar agglomeration belt near this. Has a highly anomalous infrared reflectance spectrum. Astronomers have numbered it IRX 342M, Uon, Mithri, Ga3. This set of coordinates has never appeared in previous telescope data, but it does appear in a 1976 sketch map, a map of the future. Rumor has it that in 1978, NASA and the European Space Agency, ESA, secretly convened a closed-door meeting, code-named Project Echo Ring. One of the main elements is to explore whether the star map shown on the metal tablet is a future navigation map provided by some non-Earth intelligence. Thereafter, the minutes of the meeting were not repeated, but in the very same year, the United States has launched the largest active extraterrestrial communications program to date, the SETI program, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. The first set of active radio signals sent out that year was in the direction of IRX 342M, Uwon Mai 3, Ga3. Is this a coincidence? Or is it some higher intelligence guiding mankind back to a map of the universe that they have already drawn? If these charts are charts of the future, they are not a record. They will come again. After the 1976 expedition, it was as if a lockdown button had been pressed on the Los Tayos caves. The Ecuadorian military quickly took over the area where the caves are located. The official explanation is to prevent foreign mine thieves and vandals from entering the national ecological heritage. But actually, since that year, no civic team or archaeological organization has been officially sanctioned to go deeper into the caves again. The only exception to this was in 1991, when a small exploration team of Spanish documentary film crews entered the caves with special permission from the Ecuadorian Ministry of Culture. In the video, the crew captured the following images: extremely regular corridor-type passages with mirror, smooth rock walls, huge, almost geometrically vertical vaulted spaces that are completely default. But just 2 days later, they were abruptly ordered to evacuate immediately, and the original imaging equipment was seized by the military. The resulting documentary is less than 8 minutes long and makes no mention of any metal slabs or ancient civilization structures. We were discovering a downward shaft, descending vertically in a hexagonal shape. We've never seen nature constructed at such an angle. It was a door. We opened a door, but afterward, someone forced. And then after that, the news about Los Tayos became silent as the abyss. Several researchers trying to uncover the truth have died accidentally. In 2004, the Ecuadorian archaeologist Jesus M. Duran was killed in a sudden landslide. The incident occurred on the northern branch of the road to Los Tayos. In 2009, a journalist named Carlos Enrique was found dead in his hotel after interviewing an informant. The cause of death was suspected to be cardiac arrest, but the autopsy report was never made. In 2021, a Spanish-born independent documentary filmmaker who disappeared on his way back to the caves to film left behind only half a drone aerial image of a ground-level entrance vaguely resembling. Is it just security concerns behind all this? Or is someone systematically erasing all attempts to reach the truth? Ironically, the Ecuadorian Ministry of Culture has so far recognized the Los Tayos cave as an ordinary geological formation with no archaeological value whatsoever. In 2019, however, a declassified CIA document states, suspicious subsurface cavity exists in the vicinity of coordinates STU-240078-413, with anomalous radar wave reflections. Monitoring recommended. This set of coordinates is exactly where Los Tayos is located. One of the seldom mentioned unofficial reports from the 1976 expedition was a private memo drafted by Dr. Alan C. Houghton, the psychological consultant who accompanied the team. When they returned, on the 5th night into the cave, 6 team members reported having the same dream. The dreams were highly similar in content. They were in a large, empty, metallic space with fragments of their childhood, loss, war, regret. It was as if someone had projected their memories in the air, forcing them to look back over and over again. Even weirder, one of them, in a dream, saw an image. 3 days later, he lost his footing on a survey climb and fell off a cliff at the exact angle and location he saw in his dream. This phenomenon, referred to by Dr. Houghton as echo of mind, caves seem to stimulate some kind of deep perception or mental projection, forcing the individual to confront the deepest images, the man who had never before left England. All of this points to an ancient belief. Certain geographic spaces, especially areas of high natural mineral density, may possess memory resonance properties that can trigger resonance states in the human brain. The scientific community has not yet been able to confirm this phenomenon, but similar reports have been made in a number of near-death experiences, prolonged polar confinement experiments, I didn't see any stone slabs, and there was no passage, but I saw myself, standing in front of me, staring at me, my lips moving but no sound. I escaped, covered in sweat, with my GPS completely disabled, and my camera captured all blank. They, underground, saw themselves, not as they are, but as they were, or never were. This cave, perhaps, is not a portal to somewhere else, but rather to the farthest corners of our interior. The farthest corners of our interior. If there are intelligent beings who have left memories, are they calling us to awaken in a language we do not yet understand? For decades, the legend of the Crystal Library has remained unsolved. Metal tablets, star charts, consciousness projections, blocked entrances, missing witnesses. They are like pieces of a jigsaw. Not a single piece of evidence has been officially recognized. Not a single image has been made public. Even those who saw it have disappeared into the ashes of time. But as one psycholinguist put it, if so many people, at different times and places, describe an exactly similar dream, then it is, perhaps, not a dream, but an echo of being. The Crystal Library. It may not be an archive in the traditional sense. Rather, it is a conscious storage interface for some kind of intelligence cluster. A non-written, non-verbal form of information transfer. A civilizational memory based on images, frequencies, photon. Similar concepts have appeared subtly in many cultures. The Mayan civilization called it Pakal's Codex. The ancient Indian Vedas called it Akasha Grantha, and the Vedas called it Akasha Grantha. The Egyptian Hermetic Code calls it the Tablet of Light, which can only be touched by the purifier. Do these locations collectively point to a technology or intelligence? And is Los Teos just one of the nodes that has not yet been completely sealed? Perhaps the tablets don't need to be opened by us. It could be a frequency, a state of consciousness, or it could be them. We travel the world in search of the unknown. And perhaps what is really waiting for us to open is not some cave, some slate, some lost book. Rather, it's us. Are we ready to face the library that has never been written, but has always been there in our hearts? Are you ready to turn that page? Cueva de los Tallos, Ecuador S, 2240, W78-2413. Entrance. Still waiting. If this journey has left you feeling shocked, intrigued, or questioning, feel free to subscribe to the channel as we continue to uncover forgotten maps, lost civilizations, and hidden truths. Leave a comment and tell us, do you believe that underneath Los Tallos there really is an archive of non-human intelligence? Or is it all just a reflection of the human subconscious? Where would you like to explore the next unsolved mystery?